The Assembly will come to order. I think we go to order business 4.
Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Health and Human Services, to which were referred Senate Bills 6970, 158, 175, 211, 318, 456, has had the submitted consideration and begs leave to fourth to send back the recommendation do pass. Rochelle T. Wynn, Chair. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections, to which was referred Senate Concurrent Resolution 13, has had the submitted consideration and begs leave to fourth to send back the recommendation be adopted. Brittany Miller, Chair. Mr. Speaker, Committee on Natural Resources, to which was referred Senate Bill 454, has had the same under consideration and begs leave to fourth to send back the recommendation do pass. Howard Watts, Chair. Mr. Speaker, Committee on Revenue, to which were referred Senate Bills 278, 297, 389, 442, has had the same under consideration and begs leave to fourth to send back the recommendation do pass. And your Committee on Revenue, to which was referred Senate Concurrent Resolution 11, has had the same under consideration and begs leave to fourth to send back the recommendation be adopted. Leslie E. Cohen, Chair. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Ways and Means, to which was re-referred Assembly Bill 315, has had the same under consideration and begs leave to put the same act the recommendation do pass as amended. And your Committee on Ways and Means, to which was re-referred Assembly Bill 387, has had the same under consideration and begs leave to put the same act the recommendation and do pass as amended. And your Committee on Ways and Means, to which was re-referred Assembly Bill 432, has had the same under consideration and begs leave to put the same act the recommendation and do pass as amended. And your Committee on Ways and Means, to which was re-referred Assembly Bill 443, has had the same under consideration and begs leave to report the same back the recommendation and do pass as amended. Maggie Carlton, Chair.
Go to order business 7, messages from the Senate.
Senate Chamber, Carson City, May 28, 2021. To the Honorable the Assembly, I have the honor to inform your Honorable Body that the Senate on this day respectfully refused to recede from its actions on Assembly Bill 440, Senate Amendment 748, and requests a conference and appointed Senators Harris, Scheibel, and Settlemyer as a conference committee to meet with the Like Committee of the Assembly. And I have the honor to inform your Honorable Body that the Senate on this day passed Senate Bill 459, and I have the honor to inform your Honorable Body that the Senate on this day passed as amended Senate Bill 441, and I have the honor to inform the Honorable Body that the Senate on this day concurred in Assembly Amendments 653, 717 to Senate Bill 317. Jerry Rodriguez, Assistant Secretary of the Senate.
Go to order business 8, motions, resolutions, notices.
Senate Concurrent Resolution Number 11, introduced by the Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections, creating a joint special committee to conduct a study concerning innovation zones.
Mr. Speaker.
Assemblywoman Benita Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the Assembly adopt Senate Concurrent Resolution Number 11.
Assemblywoman Benita Thompson, who the Assembly adopt Senate? No. We want to refer. No.
1-minute recess.
1 minute recess. Assembly will come back to order. Go back to order business 8, Assemblywoman Cohen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to adopt Senate Concurrent Resolution 11.
Assemblywoman Cohen has moved that the Assembly adopt Senate Concurrent Resolution Number 11. Remarks?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The concurrent resolution creates a joint special committee to conduct a study concerning innovation zones.
Any further remarks? All those in favor of the motion to adopt Senate Concurrent Resolution number 11 signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. The resolution is adopted. Order transmitted to Senate.
Senate Concurrent Resolution Number 13, introduced by Senator Canizaro, Suppleman Frierson, emergency request of the Senate Majority Leader, creating an interim committee to study an investigation into matters relating to reapportionment and redistricting in the state of Nevada. Resolved that this resolution becomes effective upon adoption. End of resolution.
Assemblywoman Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to adopt Senate Concurrent Resolution 13.
Assemblywoman Miller has moved that Assembly adopt Senate Concurrent Resolution number 13. Remarks?
Yes, SCR 13 creates an interim committee to conduct an investigation into matters relating to reapportionment and redistricting in the state of Nevada.
Any further remarks? All those in favor of the Assembly adopting Senate Concurrent Resolution number 13 signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay.
Thanks.
Motion carries. The resolution is adopted and order transmitted to the Senate.
Mr.
Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Still under order business number 8.
Order business 8.
I move that Dawn Dyke Anukum be accepted as accredited press representative, assigned space at the press table in the Assembly chambers, and allowed the use of appropriate broadcasting facilities.
If you heard the motion, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Then we'll go to order business 9.
Senate Bill 441, introduced by the Committee on Finance, enacting taxation revising provisions governing the issuance of permits for sellers of tangible personal property and providing other matters properly laid thereto.
What are we doing? Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that Senate Bill 441 be referred to your Committee on Ways and Means.
Without objection, so referred.
Senate Bill 459, introduced by the Committee on Finance, enacting state financial administration, authorizing expenditures by various officers, departments, boards, agencies, commissions, and institutions of state government for the 2021-2023 biennium, authorizing the collection of certain amounts from the counties for the use of the services of the state public defender, and providing other matters properly in there too.
Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that Senate Bill 459 be referred to your Committee on Ways and Means.
Without objection, so referred. Go to order business 12.
Assembly Bill 387, introduced by Assemblyman Monroe Moreno et al., enacting to midwives, establishing the Board of Licensed Certified Professional Midwives and requiring the board to adopt certain regulations, requiring the Division of Public and Behavioral Health of the Department of Health and Human Services to perform certain tasks relating to the regulations of licensed certified professional midwives, providing for the licensure of licensed certified professional midwives and the issuance of permits to certified professional midwife student midwives, authorizing the licensed certified professional midwife to utilize a certified professional midwife birth assistant under certain circumstances, prescribing requirements for the practice of certified professional midwifery, requiring all types of midwives practicing in this state to provide clients a community birth disclosure, authorizing a licensed certified professional midwife to possess, administer, and order certain drugs, devices, chemicals, and solutions, exempting a licensed certified professional midwife and other providers of health care from certain liability, requiring Medicaid to cover the services of a licensed certified professional midwife, providing penalty, and providing other matters properly thereto. The people of the state of Nevada represented in Senate and Assembly do enact as follows: Section 1, end of Section 1, Section 107, and end of Section 107, end of bill.
Are any amendments to Section 1 of the bill as a whole?
I have Amendment 772, proposed by the Assembly Committee on Ways and Means.
Assemblywoman Carlton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move for the adoption of Amendment 772 to Assembly Bill 387.
Assemblywoman Carlton has moved. The Senate adopt Amendment 772 to Assembly Bill 387. Remarks?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a rather comprehensive amendment, so I'll just try to hit some of the highlights. It clarifies the certified professional midwife, student midwife performs midwifery under the direct supervision of a preceptor. The division may accept gifts and grants and donations to pay for cost of performing the duties under the provisions of the chapter. It delineates licensed and professional, allows for the approval of the board. The division shall post the list on an internet site maintained by the division, and also the administrative penalties that the division may impose upon a certified professional midwife, student midwife who engages in the practice of certified professional midwifery without a preceptor. It goes on to make other clarifying languages, deletes language in sections 20 and 21. And it also certifies professional midwife. Birth assistant may provide any necessary assistance in an emergency or when birth is imminent if his or her supervising licensed certified professional midwife is not present. If a certified professional midwife birth assistant provides such assistance without supervision, the certified professional midwife birth assistant must contact a provider of emergency medical services to provide further assistance, and goes on to clarify the language all the way through the bill.
Any further remarks? There being none, all in favor, Assembly adopting Amendment 772 to Assembly Bill 387, signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Amendments adopted. Motion carries. Amendments adopted. Further amendments to the bill.
There are none.
Bills ordered general file.
Assembly Bill 432, introduced by the Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections, and relating to elections, providing that certain agencies of the Executive Department of the State Government are automatic voter registration agencies, authorizing the Governor to designate additional state agencies and certain tribal agencies as automatic voter registration agencies, setting forth the requirements for an automatic voter registration agency to transmit certain voter registration information to the Secretary of State and County Clerks, making various changes to the existing automatic voter registration process, and providing the matters properly laying thereto. The people of the State of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1, end of Section 1. Section 36, end of Section 36, end of bill.
Any amendments to Section 1 of the bill as a whole?
I have Amendment 806, proposed by the Assembly Committee on Ways and Means.
Assemblywoman Carlton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move for the adoption of Amendment 806 to Assembly Bill 432.
Assemblywoman Carlton move the Assembly adopt Amendment 806 to Assembly Bill 432. Remarks?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It makes an appropriation to make the bill work.
Any further remarks? All those in favor of the Assembly adopt Amendment 806 to Assembly Bill 432, signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay.
Nay. Nay.
Motion carries. Amendments adopted. Any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
The bill's ordered general file.
Assembly Bill 443, introduced by the Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections, an act relating to the legislature, providing for the creation of joint interim standing committees of the legislature, specifying the powers and duties of the joint interim standing committees, repealing various statutory committees, repealing the Advisory Commission on the Administration of Justice and the Subcommittee of the Advisory Commission, reassigning certain powers and duties of repealed statutory committees and the Advisory Commission to the joint interim standing committees, making various other changes relating to legislative activity during the interim between regular sessions of the legislature, requiring the Commission to Study Governmental Purchasing to submit a biennial report to the Joint Interim Standing Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections, and providing other matters properly laid thereto. The people of the State of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1, end of Section 1. Section 56, end of Section 56, end of bill.
All the amendments to Section 1 of the bill as a whole.
I have Amendment 795, proposed by the Assembly Committee on Ways and Means.
Assemblywoman Carlton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would move for the adoption of Amendment 795 to Assembly Bill 443.
Assemblywoman Carlton move the Assembly adopt Amendment 795 to Assembly Bill 443. Remarks?
I have the wrong.
There are two amendments. I think 795 adds an appropriation.
So moved.
Any further remarks? All those in favor of the Assembly adopting Amendment 795 to Assembly Bill 443, signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Amendments adopted. Any further amendments to the bill?
I have Amendment 798, proposed by Assemblyman Yeager.
Assemblyman Yeager.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the Assembly adopt Amendment 798 to Assembly Bill 443.
Assemblyman Yeager's moved. Assembly adopt Amendment 798 to Assembly Bill 443. Remarks?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The amendment reestablishes the Legislative Committee on Senior Citizens, Veterans, and Adults with Special Needs, and also reestablishes the Legislative Committee on Public Lands as the Subcommittee on Public Lands under the Joint Interim Standing Committee on Natural Resources.
Any further remarks? Seeing none, all those in favor of the Assembly adopt Amendment 798 to Assembly Bill 443, signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Motion carries. Amendments adopted. Any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
The bills order general file. Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under Order Business 8,
Order Business 8.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that Senate Bill 386 be taken from its place on general file and be placed to the top of general file for the purposes of amendment.
You heard the motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Go back to Order Business 12.
Senate Bill 386, introduced by the Committee on Commerce and Labor, enacting to employment practices requiring certain employers to provide certain employees with written notices containing certain information in the event of a layoff, requiring an employer to retain certain information relating to a laid-off employee, requiring an employer to offer certain job positions to a laid-off employee under certain circumstances, prohibiting an employer from taking certain adverse actions against certain persons, authorizing civil actions and actions by the Labor Commissioner to enforce certain provisions, providing for the severability of certain provisions by a court under certain circumstances, revising certain requirements for regulations relating to public accommodation facilities and SARS-CoV-2, which must be adopted by the Director of the Department of Health and Human Services, and providing other measures properly thereto. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1, end of Section 1, Section 29, end of Section 29, end of bill.
Members to Section 1 of the bills as a whole.
I have Amendment 817 proposed by Assemblyman Frierson.
Assemblywoman Howdigy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move for the adoption of Amendment 817 to Senate Bill 386.
Assemblywoman Howdigy has moved. The Assembly adopt Amendment 817 to Senate Bill 386. Remarks?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The amendment makes changes to Section 13.1, which makes the bill applicable only to employers with 30 or more employees.
Any further remarks? Seeing none, all those in favor of adopting Assembly Amendment 817 to Senate Bill 386, signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Members adopting further amendments to the bill. Any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
The bill's order general file.
Mr.
Assemblywoman
Speaker.
Benitez Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under Order Business 8,
Order Business 8.
thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that Assembly Bill 315 387, 432, and 443 be taken from their place on general file and be moved to the top of general file.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We go to Order of Business 12. Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Also under Order Business 8, I move that Assembly Bill 315, there it is. Oh, I think we're okay.
Go back to Order Business 12.
Assembly Bill 315, introduced by Assemblyman O'Neill et al., enacting to public employees requiring the employer of a police officer, firefighter, or correctional officer to make available certain information and counseling relating to mental health issues to the police officer, firefighter, or correctional officer, and providing other matters properly thereto. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1, end of Section 1, Section 3, end of Section 3, end of bill.
Are there any members to Section 1 of the bill as a whole?
There are none.
Remarks? Seeing none, the Chief Clerk will open the roll.
Assemblywoman Black, how do you vote on Assembly Bill 315?
Yes.
Assemblywoman Black has voted yes. Assemblywoman Dickman, how do you vote?
Yes.
Assemblywoman Dickman has voted yes.
Anyone wishing to change their vote? There are 42 ayes, 0 nays. The bill received the Constitutional majority. Declare passed and order transmitted to the Senate. Assembly Bill 387, introduced by Assemblyman Monroe Moreno et al.,
An act relating to midwives, establishing the Board of Licensed Certified Professional Midwives and requiring the board to adopt certain regulations requiring the Division of Public and Behavioral Health of the Department of Health and Human Services to perform certain tasks relating to the regulation of licensed certified professional midwives, providing for the licensure of licensed certified professional midwives, authorizing a licensed certified professional midwife to utilize a certified professional midwife birth assistant under certain circumstances, prescribing requirements relating to the practice of certified professional midwifery, requiring all types of midwives practicing in the state to provide to clients a community birth disclosure, authorizing a licensed certified professional midwife to possess, administer, and order certain drugs, devices, chemicals, and solutions, exempting a licensed certified professional midwife and other providers of health care from certain liability, requiring Medicaid to cover the services of a licensed certified professional midwife, providing penalty, and providing other matters properly laid thereto. The people of the state of Nevada represented in Senate and Assembly do enact as follows. Section 1, end of Section 1. Section 107, end of Section 107, end of bill.
Are any amendments to Section 1 of the bill as a whole?
There are none.
Remarks? There being none, Chief Clerk will open the roll.
Assemblywoman Black, how do you vote on Assembly Bill 387?
No.
Assemblywoman Black has voted no. Assemblywoman Dickman, how do you vote?
No, please.
Assemblywoman Dickman has voted no.
Anyone wishing to change their vote? There are 28 ayes, 14 nays. Bill received the Council's majority. Declare passed and order transmitted to the Senate.
Assembly Bill 432, introduced by the Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections. An act relating to elections providing that certain agencies of the Executive Department of the State Government are automatic voter registration agencies, authorizing the governor to designate additional state agencies and certain tribal agencies as automatic voter registration agencies, setting forth the requirements for an automatic voter registration agency to transmit certain voter registration information to the Secretary of State and county clerks, making various changes to the automatic voter registration process, making appropriations and providing other matters properly in thereto. The people of the state of Nevada represented in Senate and Assembly do enact as follows. Section 1, end of Section 1. Section 36, end of Section 36, end of bill.
Are any amendments to Section 1 of the bill as a whole?
There are none.
Remarks? There being none, the Chief Clerk will open the roll.
Assemblywoman Black, how do you vote on Assembly Bill 432?
No.
Assemblywoman Black has voted no. Assemblywoman Dickman, how do you vote?
No.
Assemblywoman Dickman has voted no.
Anyone wishing to change their vote? There are 26 ayes, 16 nays. Bill received the Council's majority. Declare passed and order transmitted to the Senate.
Assembly Bill 443 is currently at the printer. We should have it back shortly.
Okay, so why don't we do this? Mr. Speaker, Order Business 8.
Order Business 8.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that Assembly Bill 382 be taken from the Chief Clerk's desk and be placed at the top of general file for the purposes of amendment.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Go back to Order Business 12.
Assembly Bill 382, introduced by Assemblyman Watts et al., an act relating to student education loans, providing for the licensing and regulation of student loan servicers by the Commissioner of Financial Institutions, requiring student loan servicers to pay certain assessments and fees, authorizing and requiring the student loan ombudsman to perform certain acts, providing for the regulation of private education loans and private education lenders by the Commissioner, requiring the Commissioner to adopt certain regulations, establishing certain duties and prohibitions applicable to post-secondary educational institutions and post-secondary vocational institutions, providing penalty and providing other matters properly laid thereto. The people of the state of Nevada represented in Senate and Assembly do enact as follows. Section 1, end of Section 1. Section 67, end of Section 67, end of bill.
Are any amendments to Section 1 of the bill as a whole?
I have Amendment 808, proposed by Assemblyman Watts.
Assemblyman Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the Assembly adopt Amendment 808 to Assembly Bill 382.
Assemblyman Watts moved. The Assembly adopt Amendment 808 to Assembly Bill 382. Remarks?
Thank you. The amendment removes various provisions related to the Commission on Post-Secondary Education and clarifies Section 7 of the bill so that no bank is considered under the definition of a private education lender.
Any further remarks? Seeing none, all those in favor of the Assembly adopting Amendment 808 to Assembly Bill 382 signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. The amendment is adopted. Any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
The bill is ordered general file. Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Order Business 8.
Order Business 8.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that Assembly Bill 382 be taken from its place on general file and be placed to the top of general file.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Back to Order Business 12.
Assembly Bill 382, introduced by Assemblyman Watts et al. An act relating to student education loans, providing for the licensing and regulation of student loan servicers by the Commissioner of Financial Institutions, requiring student loan servicers to pay certain assessments and fees, authorizing and requiring the student loan ombudsman to perform certain acts, providing for the regulation of private education loans and private education lenders by the Commissioner, requiring the Commissioner to adopt certain regulations establishing certain duties and prohibitions applicable to post-secondary educational institutions, providing penalty and providing other matters properly in thereto. The people of the state of Nevada represented in Senate and Assembly do enact as follows. Section 1, end of Section 1, Section 67, end of Section 67, end of bill.
Any amendments to Section 1 of the bill as a whole?
There are none.
Remarks? Assemblyman Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Assembly Bill 382 provides for the licensing and regulation of student loan servicers by the Commissioner of Financial Institutions of the Division of Financial Institutions of the Department of Business and Industry. Order Business 15?
Order Business 15.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in support of Assembly Bill 382. Right now, Nevadans have more rights and protections for their credit card than they do when they take on tens of thousands of dollars in student loans, often right as they enter adulthood. AB 382 changes that by extending the same rights that already exist for nearly every other consumer financial market to those who take on debt in order to obtain an education. It's critical to step in and fill this gap where federal action has been lacking, and even as amended, this bill provides some of the strongest protections for student borrower families in the nation. That said, I want to be clear, this bill isn't about loan forgiveness. It's about protecting people who took on debt to pursue their education against company errors and abuses. For one example, just last year, a servicing company inaccurately reported 8 million borrowers to a credit reporting agency despite their accounts being in good standing. AB 382 would ensure that Nevada residents facing that situation can easily get that error corrected without having their credit harmed. For decades, student loan servicers have repeatedly steered borrowers into options that drive up the long-term cost of their loan. This can lead borrowers to default. And in 2019, it was reported that Nevada had the highest default rates of any state in the country, despite having relatively low tuition rates. This bill can change that and ensure every Nevada borrower gets the information they need to successfully repay their loans. AB 382 puts basic requirements in place: responding in a timely manner to customers, transparency on loan policies and options, maintaining records and payment plans when a loan is transferred, applying payments to minimize the accrual of fees, evaluating alternative payment plans before putting a borrower in default, and informing cosigners about how they might be able to get off a loan. It defines deceptive trade practices for the industry that currently don't exist in Nevada law. While banks are now exempt under the private lender provisions of the amended version of the bill, it cracks down on the most suspect actors in the private lending space, holding them to the similar standards that other standards servicers abide by, and ensuring some of the problems we've historically seen can never happen again. The bill also creates protections for some of the most unthinkable circumstances in life. If a borrower becomes totally and permanently disabled, they and their cosigners are released from their liabilities. Because in this horrible situation, families should only be focusing on taking care of their loved ones. And when a cosigner passes away, this bill protects their estate from student loan debt collectors. I urge my colleagues to stand with students over servicers and put constituents over caucus in support of AB 382. Thank you.
Further remarks? Assemblywoman Tolles.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to thank the sponsor and all the stakeholders. I know there's been a lot of conversations around this particular legislation. Gave my word I would support it, and I do appreciate the amendments, and so I will be supporting. Thank you.
Any further remarks? There being none, Chief Clerk will open the roll.
Assemblywoman Black, how do you vote on Assembly Bill 382?
No.
Assemblywoman Black has voted no. Assemblywoman Dickman, how do you vote?
No.
Assemblywoman Dickman has voted no.
Anyone wishing to change their vote? There are 27 ayes, 15 nays. The bill having failed to receive a constitutional majority, I declare it lost. Go back to order of business. Well, are we still on order of business 12? Okay.
Assembly Bill 443, introduced by the Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections, enacting to the legislature providing for the creation of joint interim standing committees of the legislature, specifying the powers and duties of the joint interim standing committees, repealing various statutory committees, repealing the Advisory Commission of the Administration of Justice and the Subcommittee of the Advisory Commission, reassigning certain powers and duties of repealed statutory committees and the Advisory Commission to the joint interim standing committees, reassigning the powers and duties of the Legislative Committee on Public Lands to the Subcommittee on Public Lands of the Joint Interim Standing Committee on Natural Resources, revising provisions governing requests for legislative measures by certain statutory committees, making various other changes relating to legislative activity during the interim between regular sessions of the legislature, requiring the Commission to study governmental purchasing to submit a biennial report to the Joint Interim Standing Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections, making an appropriation and providing other matters properly thereto. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows: Section 1, end of Section 1, Section 56, end of Section 56, end of bill.
Any amendments to Section 1 of the bill as a whole?
There are none.
Remarks? There being none, Chief Clerk will open the roll.
Assemblywoman Black, how do you vote on Assembly Bill 443?
Yes.
Assemblywoman Black has voted yes. Assemblywoman Dickman, how do you vote on Assembly Bill 443?
Yes.
Assemblywoman Dickman has voted yes.
Anyone wishing to change their vote? There are 42 ayes, 0 nays. Bill item C of the Constitutional Majority. I declare it passed and order transmitted to Senate. Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson.
Is that the entire board? It is. Okay, no, I think we're good.
All right, I'm going to go to Order Business 13 briefly. There being no objection, the Speaker and the Chief Clerk will sign Assembly Bills 3, 7, 8, 61, 86, 132, 182, 186, 195, 251, 253, 257, 301, 320, 333, 343, 359, 396, 463, 471, 479, 481, Assembly Joint Resolution Number 1, and Senate Bills 94 and 458. We'll go to Order Business 15. Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson.
Mr. Speaker, I do have one more order business 8 really
Order
quick.
Business 8.
Sorry. Mr. Speaker, I move to withdraw Senate Bill 205 from your Committee on Commerce and Labor.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that Senate Bill 205 be referred to your Committee on Government Affairs.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Seeing no other business before us,
We'll do Order Business 15. Back to order. No one? All right. No. I just want to make sure anybody else wanted to light up if they could. Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson.
seeing no other business before us, I would move that the Assembly stand adjourned until Saturday, May 29th, 2021, at the hour of 11:30 a.m.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned.